Look, thank you all, and thank you for this opportunity to introduce Talon Petroleum to you. Talon has really transformed itself in less than 2 years and is rapidly emerging as a significant exploration player in the North Sea of the UK. So in the next 10-15 minutes, I look forward to giving you an introduction to this story. The usual disclaimer, we're an ASX-listed company and the appropriate advice should be sought prior to making an investment. So the story so far, over the last less than 2 years, the company has strengthened its balance sheet and brought on a number of significant investors, so the register has really been bolstered in that fashion, and it's really established a North Sea focused strategy, which I'll introduce in more detail to come, and built up a team that can execute that strategy with some real unique experience and capability to identify and leverage acreage in the North Sea and put that to work. So what you're going to see is that we've now got, I think, 5 projects that we've secured in the North Sea in a very short period of time. So that where we sit today, Talon is in a very exciting point in its journey. The North Sea is a great place to be exploring with a supportive regulator and a great environment for new discoveries. And we've put together the team that can deliver on that. So that's what we are looking forward to over the next little while. The company itself has a market cap of about $3 million, so I think the smallest company speaking so far today. 2.5 million in cash, so the enterprise value is the other 2.5 approximately, and the top 20% of the shareholders speak for about 60% of the register. Along with myself, the person to speak to most of the time, of course, is Matt Warner, our MD, who isn't able to be here on this occasion. The North Sea experience is really in the next principally in the next 3 individuals, which I'll speak to in a little more detail when I talk about Encounter, the company that we acquired at the start of the year. Steve Jenkins and Graham Doré on the board, and Paul Young is our geoscience manager, and Paul Sinisia, whom many of you may know here in Perth, is a key technical advisor for the company. So it's a strong board and technical team to deliver the success that the company is seeking. The North Sea. I was talking to somebody on the way in and they said, oh, the North Sea, I started my career there in the 80s. And so people sort of think, well, is it tired? Is there still stuff that can be done in the North Sea? And the answer is absolutely yes. As we've seen in many rich and prolific basins around the world, we're not limited by opportunities, we're limited by ideas. And the North Sea has really benefited from that in the last 10 or 15 years. It's produced north of 40 billion barrels. And the other thing it's benefited from is a regulatory environment that stimulates and encourages small company investment. And that's been the result of that's been seen in the cost of discovery is around $1. That's US dollars, $1 US per barrel. So we get to work in a low sovereign risk environment with a regulatory environment and a permitting environment that stimulates and encourages small investment. It's got great infrastructure and it's got a rich natural endowment that we can look to leverage and pursue. There we go. So our strategy is to leverage our expertise to look to secure acreage through early entry, through farm out or licensing rounds, but to ultimately end up with equity positions of maybe up to 20% at the drilling stage post farm out, and to establish ourselves as an operator of choice. And I think we're already seeing that with people approaching us for the next bid round. And our goal would be that with the portfolio we're putting together, that we can ultimately have multiple wells drilled per year to expose shareholders to catalysts of that ilk. So let me give you a bit more of an example of what they look like. So the start of that, a key event this year has been the acquisition of Encounter Oil. Now, Encounter Oil, the story here is we acquired that completed that in the middle of this year. That started at the start of the year. Had 2 assets that came with it, the Sky Moose and Rocket prospects, which I'll touch on in a bit more detail. But critically, what came with it was the team. We secured Steve Jenkins and Graham Doré and Paul Young, who all joined the team. And to explain the benefit of that, I'll talk about what they did previously at Encore, which ultimately they sold to Premier in 2011 for just over £200 million. So this is the story that Encounter had, the team that we got with Encounter. This is the team that was instrumental in the giant buzzard discovery in the inner Moray Firth, which was, I think, one of the really rejuvenating points for the North Sea back in 2001 with Pan-Canadian Encounter. That all got sold to Nexen in 2004, and the team then went and formed a company called Encore in 2006. They had a number of successes and transactions that resulted in that, but ultimately that company was sold for £200 million to Premier in 2012. They then turned around and did it again, forming in the next company, Encounter, and had a number of, they did make a discovery here and that was sold, and then now that asset portfolio and the team has now been merged into Talon. In 2018, those licenses were awarded, and then in 2019, the transaction was done with Talon. So we've got a portfolio that looks like this at the moment. This is the central North Sea and here, and the Moray Firth, and we've got 5 projects. So from a standing start, we've got 5 projects in about 12 months. And I'll give you a quick spin through these, starting with Sky Moose and then Rocket, and then I think it's Vantage and Curlew and Thelma and Louise. Sky Moose is a very attractive prospect. It's north of 100 million barrels on a best estimate scale basis. We have 100% working interest in this. It's covered in 3D, and what's critical to us is it's effectively it's the same analogue. It's a direct analogue to the Buzzard and Golden Eagle discoveries, which our team was instrumental in the discovery thereof. We've got high quality 3D across the lot of it. It's not that deep to drill, and we've got a farm out process currently underway. So our goal is to get this farmed out and then obviously be participating in the drilling of this well in the not too distant future. In the same packet of prospects that we secured included the Rocket prospect. This is located at the southwestern end of a trend of discoveries that, again, the Talon team was instrumental in being part of, and is currently in development. Currently in production. So you've got the catcher area facility sitting out here, and this would be then potentially a tie-back through to there. So 27 million barrels. It's quite a shallow prospect, close to infrastructure, very attractive in the North Sea context to be chasing this kind of type of prospect. And again, a farm-out process for this opportunity is currently underway. More recently, we secured the Vantage prospect. This is in the inner Moray Firth. It's a known play type. It's up dip of oil, and we're in the process of completing the work on this one to get this ready for farm out. We think it's of the order of about 44 million barrels, best estimate prospective resource, and Talon has a 50% interest in this prospect. Curlew is a little different. Curlew is an existing discovery. It's of the order of 39 million barrels on a 2C basis. It was discovered back in the 70s. It's a relatively shallow objective. It's a simple domal structure, and it was a relatively low cost to appraise and develop this opportunity. So Talon has 10% opportunity in this, and we're relying at the moment on our joint venture partner. They're in the process of farming out their interest, and if they're successful, then we have the option to then proceed into the drilling of a well at Curlew. So that may be quite a near-term drilling opportunity for Talon. If that's successful, that could be Q2 2020 is what we're aiming for, and it's appraisal. It's appraising an existing discovery with nearby infrastructure to tie back to. In fact, multiple choices of where to tie back to. Just more recently, this opportunity, Thelma and Louise, which is adjacent to our existing Sky Moose prospect. This block here has been announced that it's been awarded to us. We're waiting for the formal award for this block to be completed, and then once that's done, we've got some modest technical work to undertake, and then we'll be bringing that to the farm out market as well. This block is larger, and as you can see, it contains a number of features of interest. So this just perhaps shows in a slightly different perspective the portfolio that we've built up so far. The first block we secured was Curlew, which is the appraisal opportunity that we're looking to drill in 2020. We then secured Rocket and Sky Moose, And cumulatively, our portfolio has built up to this sort of level of net combined resource for Talon. And there's another round of the licensing round in the UK. I think the bids are due in November this year. We've got our eye on several things that we'd like to pursue in that round as well. So there's more we'd like to do to build this portfolio up even further. So what does the future look like for Talon? As I said, I think we've moved quite rapidly in less than 2 years to build this team, recapitalise the company and secure this starting portfolio of assets. What we have in front of us is, as I mentioned, that the current licensing round is happening in the UK at the moment. There's a number of blocks that we've got our eye on that I expect we'll be making a bid on, and with any luck, securing some additional acreage in early 2020. The 2 prospects that we have at the moment that we're going through the farm out process are Sky Moose and Rocket, and we'd like to secure a farm out on one or both of those prospects before the end of this year, is our objective. And with the access to equipment and the timing of permits and so forth in the UK being pretty reasonable, we should be able to be drilling those wells within 12 months of securing a farm out. At Curlew, we've done a site survey over that area where we plan to drill. That was done just early this quarter. The operator is currently farming out, and if that process is successful, then we'll be in a position to be drilling this in second quarter of next year. And then at Vantage and Thelma and Louise, we're waiting formal award on those before the end of this year, and then we would initiate some further technical work, a farm out process leading to hopefully agreed farm outs by mid-2020 and then drilling in 2021. So you can see there our strategy in action. We're looking to secure acreage, leverage the knowledge base within the company, and to get ourselves into a position of be drilling multiple wells per year. If this is successful, then we have potentially 3 wells in front of us in 2020. So thank you all for your attention, and I hope you found it interesting to hear about Talon. I think it's a unique company on the ASX to be focused on the North Sea as we are, and I look forward to having a chat to you during the course of the conference. So thank you again.